So, dear colleagues, I am Mrs. MRS.MALAANAND, Assistant Professor of History, A.D.M. College for Women, NAGAPATTINAM. Today we see discussing one of the topic, Advent of the Europeans in Tamilnadu. So, very interesting at the same time. How is Europeans involved in Indian? In Indian and another one number of states, the dominant of the policy. In the European market, Indian spices were great in demand, particularly pepper from Malabar were great demand in. So the Europeans wanted to discover a new sea route and the Far East. The Venetian traveler Marco Polo, who travelled across Europe and Asia and reached the court of Chinese Empire. One of the turning point of the advent of the Europeans in India, the capture of Constantinople for Ottoman Turks. The capture of Constantinople by the Ottoman Turks in 1453, the routes mentioned above were blocked by them. As a result, supply of Indian goods to the European market were declined. The Europeans about this time had made discoveries about spherical shape of the earth. So Bartholomew Dias tried unsuccessfully to find a sea route to India. On that time, one of the European Portuguese trade with India acted as an incentive for Portuguese to discover new sea route to India. This was achieved by Vasco da Gama, support of the King Emmanuel of Portugal, sailed round the reached Calicut in 1498. The treaty signed by him and Hindu ruler Zomarin. Zomarin, who was the ruler of Calicut, the famous rulers of Calicut. So the treaty signed by him and Zomarin. So the Turks' capital Constantinople in 1453 closed the Mediterranean trade route. They linked Europe with India to discover an alternative trade route to India. So Portugal was fortunate for having Prince Henry, the navigator, as the ruler. He gave all possible encouragement for voyage and discoveries. To encourage, Bartholomew Dias was the first explorer to the rich Cape of Good Hope. Cape of Good Hope in the southern tip of the Tamilnadu. So Vasco da Gama crossed the Indian Ocean and landed at Calicut in 1498. Thus, the Portuguese were the first to find out a sea route in India. So, as thus related, the factories were established by the Portuguese in India number of places. He was the first viceroy of Portuguese possessions in all over India, only the Portuguese possessions in India. He wanted to increase the naval power of the Portuguese so that they might become the master of Indian oceans. So, his policy was called as the Blue Water Policy. One of the famous governor of in these territories, Francisco de Almeida. At the same time, your policy followed only in the naval supremacy of the India in Portuguese. Okay. And another one governor in the place of the India, number of Portuguese territories, Alfonso de Albuquerque. He was the real founder of Portuguese power in India, and he captured the port of Goa from the Vijaypur Sultan and strengthened it. He built a fort at Cochin. He encouraged intermarriage of Portuguese with Indian women. By end of the 16th century, he was Goa, Dayu, Daman and Salsette came under the Portuguese rule. These places is under merge of the Portuguese is credit of this Alfonso de Albuquerque. So he is considered for the famous governor of the Portuguese. Okay. After that, the influence involved in India, the Dutch. In 1602, the Holland established the Dutch East India with main object of trade as usual. Object of trade. So on that related, he is captured and involved Nagapattinam, Agra, Surat, Mazulipattinam and Sinsura were the trading centers in Dutch places in India. As this related, the rivalry between them reached such an extent that in 1623 massacred many Englishmen at a place Ampaina. This incident called Ampaina massacre or massacre of Ampaina. After the tragedy, the English left the Spice Island and concentrated their attentions in India. More concentrations, their attentions in India. The Dutch ventured in the Eastern Sea in the 16th century. In the year of 1608, they set up a number of places, starting a factory. On that related, the first factory started Devanampattinam with the permissions of Senchi ruler Krishnappa Nayak. In the East, competitions and rivalry between the Portuguese and Dutch. As this continued, they captured Karaikal, Sandom, Titigarin and Nagapattinam in the year of 1658 along with Cochin and Kannur on the western coast. By 1844, they sold out all their settlements to the English for the reasons of the competitions did not beat the English. Okay. So, in 1844, they sold out all the settlements to the English. As this related, the supremacy of the English in India, as this related, the English East India Company was chartered by Queen Elizabeth on 31st December 1600. So, in Tamilnadu, the influence of English, the Madras became the headquarters of all English possessions in the East. One of the prominent places in India, Chennai or Madras, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, and that in southern side, the English supremacy power in Madras. So, as this reason, the Madras became the headquarters of all English possessions in the East. The English opened a new settlement at Kadalur and Parangipete in 1681. Or the English set up factories at Mazulipattinam in 1626, at Harharpur and Palashur in Orissa in 1633. In India, the French and British powers alone among the European powers were important in the beginning of the 18th century. Number of rivalries, competitions to the number of European powers. The leading to the powers in India, as usually the British, because number of reasons. One of the balance of power, and another one, the naval supremacy, did not compete to any other Europeans. Okay. The London Company and received a charter from Queen Elizabeth I on 31st December 1600 to trade with India for 15 years. In 1609, an Englishman named Captain Hawkins landed at Surat and approached King Jahangir. Who was Jahangir? Jahangir was the famous Mughal ruler. On the time he was administrator on that place. So, Captain Hawkins and approached the King Jahangir in Delhi. He got permission to easily to set up a factory at Surat in India. King James I of England sent an ambassadors after that, and Sir Thomas wrote to the Mughal court and got permissions to set up a factory at Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bruch in addition to Surat. As usual, Surat in the first place. As this continue, the Agra, Ahmedabad and Bruch. Okay, more than number of places. This one by one added the English supremacy. So on the southeastern coast, the English established a factory, southeastern coast. The English established a factory at Masulipatinam in 1611. In 1639, Francis Day, an Englishman, obtained Madras from the ruler of Chandranagur and built the Fort St. George. The history of Fort St. George is very interesting. So, the Francis Day to obtain the Madras from the ruler of Chandranagur, as this related to build the Fort St. George. In 1698, the English were granted the Zamindar of 3 villages and Calcutta was one of them. It became the city of Calcutta, later this called. The fort built was named at Fort William in this Calcutta. The London company, which had been doing all these business activities so far faced another rival company, and both of them finally merged in 1709 as the United Company of England trading to the East Indies is called, and it came to be called the English East India Company later. After that successes, the French influence in India, especially in Tamilnadu, the French East India Company established in 1664. In 1672, the French seized Santum near Madras. Karaikal was taken from Marathas of Tanjore as these places to govern the appointment of one of the great Governor General of Duplex. He was appointed as governor in 1741. The French started a new company in 1664 under the guidance of the famous ruler of King Louis XIV and his minister Colbert. The French factory was established at Surat by Francis Khan. The French factory was established at Surat by Francis Khan. Francis Martin became the head of the French administrations in 1674 in India. He got grant from Bijapur Sultan and founded Pondicherry in 1674, and soon it became the headquarters of all of the French settlements in India. In India, all of the French settlements, they are decided to the only in the capable place of the capable or suitable place of the Pondicherry. So Pondicherry in 1674, all the French settlements of headquarters, they had established their settlements in Chandranagur, Palashur and Kazim Bazar as this continues. On the Malabar coast, they got Maggie in 1725. On the western side, he got one of the settlements in Maggie in 1725. In 1739, he got Karaikal on the Coromandel coast. After that, in 1739, he got Karaikal on the Coromandel coast. On the places influenced in the French influence. So after 1742, the French turned their attention towards political gains and open conflict with the English, whose ambitions also became political and economical point of view. There was rivalry competitions in the English and French as usual. So before that, English and Portuguese, the rivalry competitions, a number of reasons. As this related, the French and the English competitions is continue in this way. After that, the influence in Indian soil, another one Europeans, the dance. The dance in India. The Danes were one of the Europeans settled in India. He was called one of the Europeans. The success of the British, Portuguese, Dutch and French spies trade clearly the stride envy in Denmark by the 17th century. As usual, before that the British, the Portuguese, the Dutch and the trade conduct to the one of the reason to spies. So as this related, the Danes involved in the European soils, the main reason to the trade for demand for spice. They had a settlement at Serampore in Calcutta. First settlement in Calcutta on that place called Serampore. They also had a factory at Tankubar on the Coromandel coast in Tamilnadu. They also had a factory, one of the famous place in Tangubar, Coromandel coast in Tamilnadu. So the Europeans one by one they were occupied Indian territories and political rights, a number of reasons, a number of advantages. We are under the control of more than 2 centuries of British Raj, and after that we got independence. Okay, thank you.